Okay, we're on television. So good evening. Welcome to this meeting of the Old Kings Highway Historic Committee of the Town of Yarmouth, which is being held in accordance with Chapter 470 of the Acts of 1973 as amended at 7:15 p.m. on Monday, February 14, 2022, at the Yarmouth Town Hall Hearing Room located at 1146 Route 28 in South Yarmouth. In addition, because of COVID, pursuant Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, considering COVID, this meeting is run in hybrid mode. And so we may occasionally have someone tuning in from their home, and they'll come on, they can be seen and heard. There are 6 new applications for certificates of appropriateness that will be heard this evening in the order that was listed on the agenda. Please be reminded that our committee's main purpose is to review items for appropriateness and setting, and it's the responsibility of the applicant to comply with regulations of other town boards and departments, including the building department, conservation, engineering, health, zoning, and the sign inspector. You should know there is a 10 calendar day appeal period starting once a decision is filed with the town clerk. Any person aggrieved by our decision tonight can appeal to the Regional Commission of the Old Kings Highway. Our office administrator will be happy to answer any questions you may have in that process. So, the first item this evening is concerned with construction of a chicken coop at 173 Route 6A. And Greg Belazikian is the owner, and I'm not sure, Greg, or...
How are you?
Okay. Greg, before we start on the chicken coop, I have a question. I don't know how it happened, but when you purchased this building, what's the name of it?
Lighthouse Keeper's Pantry.
Yeah, the pantry.
Came here for a signed permit.
Pantry, right. When it was in the previous owner's name, it was the fish bakery.
Correct.
And they got permission to remove a tree in front of the house. And they were putting in a very expensive beech tree.
Correct.
And it was magnificent.
Yes.
And they did that. And when I drive by now, I don't see it.
Correct. It impeded the view of the retail establishment. So we thought it was best interest of the customer to have us see the building. So we removed it.
You can't do that. It's part of the canopy of Route 6A. When they first took the old tree down, you know, they had to get permission to do that. And at the same time, we approved being replaced. They were going to put a replacement
There may be
tree.
a lot of confusion about the front of the property then.
So, well, we'll have to take that up and straighten it out, because it's a problem relative to the canopy all along 6A. In fact, I think the state gets involved too.
I'll have to look at the property lines about that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it goes beyond the pavement quite a bit. It's like 40-foot wide, you know, for the road. The road itself is about 20. And so it goes in quite a ways. So I was surprised. One day I was driving by and said, where'd that tree go?
Yeah, as a retailer, we're trying to do the right thing for the customer.
Okay, now the chicken coop is kind of out of the way, hidden, tucked away. I had a question on the pitch of the roof. It pitches toward the
It'll pitch toward,
existing.
yeah, it'll pitch toward the
like a
barn itself.
Or something. Yeah. In which case, all the water is going to run into that and pour off and into the side of the building,
I think we have to look at the setbacks a bit, but I don't know if that's,
because they're close together and that's where the water is going to go. So I didn't know if something could be done. Clearly, you can't just turn it around because these parts of screening is taller and is bent overhead.
I wonder if rain gutters could be used to direct the water away from the adjacent barn.
Yeah, something should be done there. Just from our point of view of what it looks like, I mean, that's a building department's problem, but from ours, it might look better with it tipped the other way. Any other members have opinions on that?
Excuse me, sorry, go ahead.
No.
Okay, bring this around. Curious as to what the chickens will be for. I am a patron of your coffee shop. So what will I be?
we're not sure yet.
Oh, you're not sure yet? Okay, is this, I forget your name, you're running it, right? Kelly,
Okay.
right. So you have certainly a thriving business going there now.
I agree that the pitch would be better if it were oriented 180 degrees in the opposite direction. Would that be?
I'd look at it from a, I look at it from just a workman standpoint. If it was pitched toward the barn, it'd be easier to work from the sort of tree side of the property. And I'm thinking that we'll have the kids from Northside Nursery come and do a tour there as well to look at the eggs and the chicks and stuff. So having it available for people to walk through easily would be part of it. Certainly, anything can be done. It's nothing's impossible.
I'm sort of asking how you feel about that idea.
It's not my preference. I mean,
Yeah.
I like this is because it's elevated, it's up off the ground. I like this because it can just sit on the dirt. It's a simple enough construction that someone could build on their own. It's a handyman's project. This is not going to be a commercial grade project.
Greg, is it going to be right up against the barn or is there going to be a space?
There'll be, I think it's a 6-foot setback with, I think Mark's going to ask me for 6 feet and I'm going to try to push him a little bit closer, but I think it's a 6-foot differential is what the town requires.
From the property line.
From the building, between buildings.
So how much space does that leave between the chicken coop and the barn?
There's only between a chicken coop and the barn should be 6 feet.
Oh, 6 feet?
Yeah.
So there's not going to be water hitting the barn coming out through
Correct.
for the chicken coop.
Correct. I mean, we'll put gravel down or something between.
Thank you.
Sure.
I think it's a great idea, especially not having any roosters to distract the
No, just no
chickens.
roosters and the neighbors are all in support.
So the chicken's going to stay inside this all the time? They
Inside
won't be
all the
out
time.
roaming around?
We have enough, there's
stopping traffic
some
time.
coyotes, there's some fox. You know, the big, I guess the question is, will we need to ask to build a fence around it for protection? because of the coyotes and the and
Well, could they
potential
potentially
wolf.
tear into it?
Yeah, I don't know. It just, that's the only
Impossible.
question we have. That's the only unknown, right?
Oh.
But how aggressive will they be? We don't know the answer to that
Did I
question.
see, so the number of chickens on here? I forgot.
24.
24.
Well, it's a busy area, so hopefully that keeps the coyote to a dull roar.
Well, as chicken coops go, it's a very nice chicken coop.
Yeah, it's
Thanks.
gorgeous.
Not that I have a great deal of familiarity with chicken coops, but
So if they do choose for any reason to reorient, do they have to come back, Richard?
Well, if they're gonna change the design, yeah,
if it's just a matter of rotating it, it can be done with an amendment.
well, you can't just rotate it. If it's 6 feet from the other building, you probably have enough room to.
I mean, I just twist it the other way
Yeah,
and have the storage on the facing the back, I suppose.
right.
I mean, if it's just that.
I mean, I'm not wedded to the idea of rotating it, but you brought it up and I thought it was actually had some merit.
So the door there is how you go in
Correct.
Right.
to
Yeah, so
Do
that's
To
gather
clean
gather
in.
the eggs or whatever you're
Correct.
doing. And so if that
Correct.
was up against the barn, it'd be harder to get access.
Correct. And then the more open, that's, again, that's where I really was hoping we'd have people be able to walk through and do a little education.
Oh, cool.
So I see you've got two abutters who have given thumbs up to this project. There is a third one that's affected. I gather that abutter is not here.
I
Not
mean,
hearing-
Barfield's verbally said okay, but
Well, they're not here to object anyway, so
Right.
that point is moot.
Mhm.
I'll move to approve as submitted.
I'll second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
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 I myself as well. Okay.
thank you very much. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
So you have to sign anything?
You have to
Richard
sign
Has
this.
to
Yeah.
sign.
Craig.
Oh, he's coming up. Okay.
And I'll fill out the rest of it. You just, yeah.
It's a beautiful design.
Thank you very much.
you're
Yeah.
welcome.
Have a great night.
You too.
Start selling chickens at the Lighthouse Keepers Country. Sell eggs, I mean. just their country.
We had a chicken coop once down on, what was it? By the cemetery.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Night.
Bye.
Thanks again.
Bye, Greg.
Sorry, it's,
Of course.
The next item is concerned with adding a second garage bay to an existing one-car garage. And adding a 16 by 16 patio behind it with an overhead roof. To match the There's also addition of a 14 by 10 Pine Harbor shed at the back property, 22 Setauket Road. Is anyone-
Hi, this is Mike Ferrazzi. We're on Zoom.
Okay, good,
How are you?
great, and we can hear you fine. Good,
Awesome.
so.
I don't think that's good. Yeah, thanks. Explain anything about it or?
I had one thought on this proposal. Um, Put this little dormer over the garage.
Yes,
And I assume that the function is to break up the line because by extending the house, it gets pretty long. And I-
that's correct.
and-
And the portico in the front. Yep.
yeah. And so by adding that, it kind of breaks things up.
Correct. This was approved last year or the year before from you people.
uh,
And we went out to get it priced and everything, and it was so expensive. We decided not to do it. So the addition in the back and everything. So we're keeping the garage and everything the same. And in the back of the new garage that we want to put up will be a patio,
the cover,
cement patio with a roof over it,
right.
instead of enclosing the back and all that we were going to do before.
What I'm suggesting is instead of putting that little dormer up, which is going to cost a bit, the new bay of the garage could be stepped back like 1 foot or 2 feet so that the old roof is retained and the new section is just set back, and that breaks up the line.
Yeah, that was recommended last time, but we really don't like that.
Oh, okay.
I know it adds, this is Catherine, hi. I know it adds cost to have the dormer, but it really is for architectural interest, really, and just to make it a little prettier than one long line. And that is going to be storage up there, so it'll be extra light as well.
Oh, okay.
There, yeah, what's missing in this picture is there is shrubbery and so forth
Oh, sure.
in the front. And of course, we'll, put in new shrubs to make it
Mhm.
prettier as well.
So the new porch or entryway will be the same width as the existing one, is that right?
In the front of the house, yes.
No, not same as existing. It's the same,
It's the same. It's not wider. It's just a portico over the front door.
right, the
Yeah.
portico over the front door is the same as was previously approved.
Mhm.
Yes, from before. We figured since everything passed and we did so much work on the whole big addition project, nothing was changing from the front at all. And we really liked the portico. Again, really more just to add interest. And it does help shield a little rain at the front door too.
So you're changing the windows on the front also.
No,
No,
those were
those are
already,
the same.
those were done back in 2014,
Okay.
I think.
So the
with
picture,
your-
the photo that we have is predates that?
It shouldn't, unless I took the wrong photos to send you. Nope,
No.
they're Anderson 400
windows,
series
yeah.
windows that were approved back in 2014.
Well, the thing is that in the engineering drawing.
Oh, it looks small windows. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
And on
No,
the-
those windows are staying.
No, we're not changing.
Not
any
changing
windows.
anything.
Okay,
So they're more proportionate than they look in the,
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah,
that drawing either.
Yeah, that's, good. I'm glad you mentioned. Yeah,
So the shutters are black and they, will you also put the black shutters on the shed?
yes.
I wasn't planning on having any shutters, but I don't care if they're required, that's fine with me. Go ahead. Oh, go ahead.
They're on the diagram.
Yes,
Yes,
because they come with it.
Uh-huh.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, that's optional.
yes.
Oh,
I planned on having black shutters.
all right, so I guess we're having black shutters, thank you.
Feel good.
Happy Valentine's
Yeah,
Day.
really.
Yeah.
what a way to celebrate.
I'm writing that down right now, black shutters.
okay.
Yeah. Is it plot plan that shows this location?
The
Oh, here it
coloration
is.
is
Mhm.
entirely different.
Okay.
I gather there are no abutters waiting to join in online.
I don't believe so.
No, I don't think so. They're all in agreement.
The, I always try to sell solar panels.
So,
And,
solar panels.
and not on the front of your house, but the shed is 14 by 10. And 14 means that you could put 4 solar panels across. And if you extend the roof down, you could put 8 solar panels on the front of the shed. And you can orient sheds very easily. They're kind of movable. And so you can align it with the sun and optimize the solar power. So you may have a thought if, when you're installing this, to check out the sun.
Okay. thank you.
Okay. Well,
Clearly, if you do it parallel to the property line, it's not going to be exactly correct. But
Mhm. Correct. Yeah, the house, the orientation is just right, the house of the house.
you know, the orientation of the house is good. It's about 15 degrees off, ideal. But the shed you can do by just walking out at noontime and checking the shadow. And,
yep.
you know, once the shed is there in the proper location, you can do what you want after that, you know. But I tried getting Pine Harbor to build one like that. And they didn't want to waste their time because they may not sell it.
Uh-huh.
Said, it's a good idea, but, and he didn't have any solar panels to put on it to do a nice proper demonstration.
Uh-huh.
So
You won't have electricity out there, will you?
keep on wondering,
We'd like to, yes.
yeah, that would
Okay.
provide.
Or an
you-
interior light. Mhm.
Just a thought. Anyhow,
Okay.
do you have any motions on the,
I move to approve.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
good. Okay. Now,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome.
They're all set, right? They can tune
Yes.
out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Cindy can sign, actually.
Okay.
She voted.
Did I sign this one?
Taking Paula's place tonight.
Thanks. You want her to sign the previous ones?
Yes, good. Yeah.
Signed.
The next item is concerned with removing the current cedar shingles and replacing with gray vinyl siding, replacing front windows, removing a bay window, and replacing 3 double hung windows. In addition, replacing a door and trim at the front of the house, which is at 25 Lucerne Drive. Homeowners are Ryan O'Connell and Jeff Rag is the agent. So we have Jeff here.
I'm Ryan.
Ryan, okay.
Could I ask a question? or two?
Yeah,
Okay. Hi there.
Hey, how are you?
Good. So the bay window to the right of the front door facing the house is going to be replaced by 3 double hung windows. Will it be similar to the diagram in that the center window will be larger than the 2 side windows?
No, they're all three of the same size windows going across.
Okay. And what's the reason for the replacement? Just curious.
Old wooden windows leaking.
Gotcha.
They're original to the house.
Mhm. And the 3 will fit there?
Yep.
And they're going to be abutted together
Correct.
without trim separating them? How are, we don't have a drawing of
well,
the
same
windows.
as the,
Yeah, I can, because Harvey's can make them up to the width that the specifications that you give them.
Are you retaining the shutters? It looks like that. Are you retaining the shutters?
Yeah, they'll go back. Yes.
you know, the vinyl siding,
Hmm.
usually we approve the vinyl siding on the front of the house and regular shingles on the side and back.
And that's what will happen.
Pardon me?
He said
So-
that's what they're planning.
That's
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
okay. And the color selection is good.
Mhm.
Yeah, there should be a swatch of it that I copied and pasted.
Yep,
And the trim on the windows will stay white?
Just white, AZEC trim.
I guess you'll have to do a little clip of siding on the portico there too, above the front door.
Yeah, no, that's going to happen as well.
Yeah.
The whole front of the house will just be gray.
Mhm.
good. Any other questions? A motion?
I just have a question. It's just thinking ahead. There's a
Mhm.
big expanse between the pair of windows and the single window. You have any thoughts about that for the future?
What, the double to the, like if you're looking at the house to the left of the door?
There's a lot of horizontality here. It's a long house and you've got this big space between the pair of windows and the single window. It's not, I'm just asking if you've thought about that for down the road.
No, nothing at this point.
The shutters help.
Mhm.
Yeah. It would look like a shipping container if you don't put the shutters on it.
Oh, no, I was not, kind of does anyway.
The historic
So-
shipping container.
It's a glorified double wide.
And the windows probably are oriented to the middle of the bedroom.
Oh, I'm sure there's a reason. I have no doubt there's a reason.
Bathroom or something.
Mhm.
Well, it's this whole neighborhood was built that way, like,
Mm. Mhm.
so they're all pretty much identical.
Very similar.
Mm,
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. So we had a motion to
I move to approve.
second.
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Rose?
Aye.
Aye.
Bob?
Aye. Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. Good. If you're going to make any changes, let us know in advance.
Will do.
Yeah, I'll sign this document and date it. And when you pick up the other paperwork at the office, you'll get a copy of this too.
Okay, thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Have a good evening.
You too.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
The next item is concerned with installing 25 roof-mounted solar panels at 33 Embassy Lane. The homeowner is John Powers, and Devlin Contracting and Maintenance is the agent. So hopefully one of them will show up. Yep.
Yes,
Well,
this is Thomas from Devlin Contracting, representing Mr. Powers.
Okay, Thomas?
Karen has her hand raised.
I think she's on the,
Karen is our permitting specialist, and she can definitely respond on our behalf as well. Can you ask her to join as well?
Okay.
she's coming in now. There she is.
It's interesting, the next
I think
item.
I'm here now.
Yeah, you're
Yes.
there.
Karen.
Okay, sorry, I'm not very technically savvy.
It's interesting, the next item on the agenda is also for solar panels. It turns out they're the same type, 400 watt an hour
And law.
and more. Yeah,
There's a lot going on in the industry with shortages of materials, and 400 watts seems to be the new flavor of the industry.
uh-huh.
So it makes sense in terms of procurement and offerings with especially the historic committee, the look of everything.
Are these black,
These are all black, yes.
including the frame?
Frame, rails, all of the components for our installation.
Our eagle eye chair here has noticed that you're presuming to install both horizontally and vertically, which will be a trick considering your rafters, but there's no rule against it.
Yeah, there's another thing, on a drawing that I had, I don't see it here right now, but there was a measurement made of the length of a solar panel. These happen to be 74 by 41.1. And he has one solar panel mounted vertical as Liz just mentioned, and one horizontal, and you added that up and got 7 feet 9 inches. But in actuality, it's 9 feet 7 inches. And so they don't look the way you have them drawn.
Mhm.
And on the other hand, if you had gotten, you can only put 11, see, it's an array of 7 wide, and then the other 4 on top. So you can get 11, and it's 4.4 kilowatts. And if you range them the other way and use the 280 watt version, you can get 14 panels. They look much neater. They'd cover the whole roof. And you can't do that with the 400 watt units because they're, as I said, 74 inch.
Unfortunately, the 280 market and up to 350 is pretty scarce in the industry and is not even available as far as procurement goes. As far as December went last year, the module industry shifted to pretty much everything over 370 watts. And so the old school smaller panels, they were easier to design with. Those days have almost set sail as far as Q1 this year. So you're going to see that most people in the industry are participating in this unfortunate but big shift in the industry to over 370 watt modules.
Yeah, the one I was talking about was 380. If I said 280, I'm mistaken.
Okay.
The QP Dual Black MLG9 is 72 inch by 40.6. So you could put them, you would end up with, I calculated it someplace here.
How many strings are there on, for instance, on the diagram PV-3.1? Is that 2 strings or 1 string?
So these are branch circuits because these are micro inverters. So the system is AC on the roof, which
Gotcha.
makes it much safer, and it's 240 volts as soon as it leaves the panel leads. So branch circuit wise, you can have up to 4. This system is actually only 3 total, but most likely we'll end up stringing it with 4 for simplicity's sake. And it's rectangles on a roof in general. So we're going to make it look as aesthetically pleasing with the roof space up there to make sure that we maintain the shape of the roof.
Okay.
Well, it'll be an education for us to take a look at it too.
Yeah, I was out there the other day and
Yeah,
see.
things are changing.
Yeah, it happens. Oftentimes the manufacturer will find that one particular model is selling well, so they make lots of them.
Yeah, and it looks like that you've dealt with the rafters without any problem with the racking. Back when I was,
Absolutely, whether it's vertical or where the horizontal, we make sure that we do all the engineering, site plans, stagger the layouts, and make sure we run a third-party engineer to double check our information and our plan and get those sign-offs and submit them to building.
yeah, I wouldn't have been allowed to design like this back in my day. So what is the total kilowatt hours? I didn't, not that you have to provide that, but I was curious. Based on, PV watts or whatever you ran.
So it's interesting. We've been avoiding PV watts these days because NREL's been a little bit ambitious in the numbers that they perform. So we do all of our calculations based on Aurora, which is another PV watts accredited software. And for Mr. Powers here, just pulling it up. Bear with me.
Mhm.
So he's got 25 panels, which is around a 10,
Okay,
and it's about a 1.01 production factor. So the DC watts actually mattered here. And so 25, and we're going to the 400. It was honestly a 1.1 production ratio. So he's going to get just shy of 11,000 kilowatt hours.
Right, okay. Okay. And in this case, the owner of the house will own the panels.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're running into a lot of lease situations.
You know what? I'm in favor of the power agreement where the homeowner owns it. Leases have a purpose depending on who is the purchaser. But for me, I'm in favor of ownership all the way, like a heating system or any of your major appliances that you purchase for your home. It does what it does. It has its own payback, whether it be an energy, a mini split, whatever. I would prefer ownership all the way.
Good.
okay. Have a motion on this?
Are there any abutters
Yeah, there's only
online?
one abutter right next to the house, which would see them,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see him coming down the road, but it's the last house on the street. You know, and the next thing is a golf course. Kingsway.
Nobody seems to be speaking up.
Yeah, so that being the case, we could make a motion on it.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor of this installation?
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
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 Okay, good. The ayes have it.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Hi.
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is also concerned with installing solar panels on the rear roof of 53 Sisters Circle. Andrew Popolarski is the owner and Trinity Solar is the agent. Maybe Trinity,
Good afternoon or evening.
good. And you're from Trinity?
Yes, that's correct. I'll be representing this project.
Thank you. Do you have your name for the record?
Yes, Tristan Souza.
Well, Sister Circle has essentially been designated an exempt area by this committee. So I move to approve.
Sounds good for me.
I second. It's a good installation.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, I remember when the house was being built, I went out there and my car stopped. I went in with the guy who was building it. And then I went out to my car and went to start it. And I had trouble, like
Oh, jeez.
the starting motor went. I had to have it towed away.
Oh, boy.
Total. Oh,
So it was an experience, I remember. But at the time, we talked to him about the possibility of putting solar panels on the back of the house because I had a pretty good orientation. And it backed up to Route 6. And it'd be good advertisement on Route 6. Good. So we have a motion.
We did, and
And
it's been
And a
seconded.
second.
and
Yep.
everyone's approved.
Aye.
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 Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
That was easy. Mhm.
Have a good night.
You too.
The next item on the agenda is concerned with building a cedar fence on each side of the front of the house and then down the left side of the property to the back. And there's an existing shed there. This is at 238 Setauket Road. Laura and Prentice Smith are the owners. Reliable Fence of Cape Cod is the agent. And we
Hello,
have-
I'm Prentice Smith.
Okay,
Hi.
good. So there was a picture of a similar fence in here with cedar board with straight top.
I understand that your fence, which is 6 feet tall, will meet the neighbor's 5-foot tall fence. Are you planning to slope the 6-foot fence to?
There's a large tree, not tree, but bush right in front of it, so you won't ever see that.
Matter, okay.
Yeah, the picture has the fence drawn in from towards the back corner of the house.
On that picture, is the neighbor's fence 5 feet? That's the last picture in the package. It's
On the left side or the right side?
on the right side.
The right side, it is 5 feet. But you wouldn't see it. As I said, there's a tree from the front. You can't see where it connects.
Yep.
And Lisa, I gather there are no abutters who are, okay.
Correct.
Prentice, what's the purpose of the gate?
Just in case I need to get back there, the septic is back there. Lawnmower, just to,
Just access.
yeah, access.
Thank you.
So you don't have any pictures of the gate.
It's probably similar to the fences.
It's gonna look like the fence itself. You won't even notice it's a gate other than it's movable.
I move to approve.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Great, thank you very much.
Yep.
Yep, he's
Thank you.
done. Yep.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Right, I'll sit here. So Lisa's been working hard on the,
I should say so. What an
Yeoman's job.
extraordinary amount of work.
For you.
How did you ever do this?
I heard your guys' voices in my nightmares and
Oh,
dreams.
you must
Oh.
have.
Yeah, it was something.
Right.
Needs to get done, so.
Wow.
Great
Yeah.
of you to do that.
Thank you.
I hope they're paying you well.
And going forward, we'll be getting the minutes.
Yes, every
Shortened.
time.
That would be awesome.
Yes, every time.
That's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, we'll do that. And I'm gonna, we probably have to go back further than this, but at least want to get last year's
Jeez.
done anyway, so.
Excellent.
Mm.
I went through each one of these and I only had a concern on a couple. One was on June 28th, one of the items was Mid-Centio
Yes,
for solar panels.
yep.
And the write-up there was very abbreviated. And I thought it would be worth putting into the record. I mean, you can go back and watch the video, which I had done earlier. But into the record, it'd be good to point out that we didn't care for having solar panels on the front of the house. And we suggested alternatives that were equal to or better than the proposal that had come through. And each of those were turned down by the homeowner.
Okay. All right, I'll add that in.
But we didn't just, we don't like to just say, oh, that looks terrible. We don't want to see solar panels all over the front of the house, and particularly in the historic center of Yarmouthport. And so it should be pointed out that we give them perfectly thought out alternatives. I think it's the following month or following week where 67 Merchant Avenue came in again with solar panels on the front of the house.
Okay.
And we suggested alternatives. So it would be good if we could just expand on those two.
I will.
They both got appealed.
Okay.
They both got approved, actually. But I thought it should be in the record.
Okay, I will make that clear.
Where do the final minutes get posted?
On the town website. So if you go out to where it says agendas and minutes and scroll down to the meeting that you want to look to.
Right, they're all in there.
Once they're out there, they're in a PDF format. You just click on it and it'll open.
Thank you.
So yeah, that's why I'm trying to get all these ones out there on the site so that
How many back years you're missing?
a lot.
Yikes.
Yeah, sporadically a few here and there, but there's big chunks missing. So yeah.
I notice on the list, we don't have January 20, I think it was the 25th. You sent it, but it's not on the list, which is fine.
That's our last meeting,
Yeah.
January 25th.
Was it 25th?
I found it.
probably 24th.
I checked it off.
24th?
Maybe
2022.
2022.
I mean, I think you sent that to us to review.
Yeah, you did.
You just didn't put it on the
I
list
just
here.
didn't put it on the list. Yeah.
What was it? What was the date?
24th.
24th.
24th. Yeah, sorry about that.
Because I had
Got carried
comments on
away.
the 10th and the 24th.
Yes,
Because those are the only
you
ones.
did,
I was-
Yep, I've
here
missed them
for.
off the list here, so that's on me. Yep. Add that in too.
So I had asked Lisa to refer to me as Elizabeth rather than Liz
Oh, okay.
in the minutes. I don't know if that's necessary, but it seems prudent.
Yeah.
It's a strange sound to me. I don't recognize the name very well, but
I can do that.
yeah.
Yep.
And then I also noticed on January 24th, I believe, we had talked about the rain portico over the front door. And I think it's called a cover in the minutes. And I thought we could call it something a little
Yeah, I
bit.
think you had sent that to me and
Yeah.
I fixed that. So
Good.
the two items that you sent me, I fixed on
Okay.
on those two meetings. So,
Gotcha.
yeah. And I fixed your name too.
Oh, good. Easy peasy. In fact, we've been referring to it tonight as a portico.
Yes.
Whether that's right or not, I don't know.
There was one on August 9th, 2021. You mentioned that I opened the meeting, but I wasn't at the meeting that night.
Oh,
Okay.
So you'll have to put Bob open the
Okay.
meeting.
while you're reviewing your list too, since we don't have the January 24th on our agenda, we might not be able to approve them.
We can
Because
do
of-
it at the next meeting though.
Yeah.
then.
Yes.
don't remember the details on this one, but I wrote down Bob, remove Bob's exhortation to table.
My exhortation.
That might have been because there were so many times when you had to table and then untable and then retable.
Yeah, it was
Well, you did well, but maybe it's not necessary.
A151.
Okay. It's probably a spell check that fixed it into something that I wasn't, I didn't intend.
You don't want it written down, do you?
Whatever. I will not be offended either way.
No expectations.
Okay, that's all I had.
All righty.
Okay, so we have to go down these one by one.
I think you do.
I don't think so. I think,
No.
I think you can make a motion A through W or whatever, at least for what I've been told. So that's-
I move to approve the minutes.
I second.
For
Should we just at least,
2021,
yeah,
Mhm.
from January through December 2021, and January 10th of 2022.
right.
Okay,
Okay.
who makes a motion to approve?
Bob.
I did.
Bob made the motion, I seconded.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting them?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Lisa.
And thank you.
Just reading them was enough work.
All righty.
Just get partially caught up anyway.
Jeez.
Guess the winter's a good time, right? To get that.
Well, you know, you can sit there and.
Not that much on TV.
So should we make a move to go
I
out in the
was waiting
cold?
to, I was waiting to see if Richard had anything else. Do you have anything else?
Let's
Richard?
not. Let's just
No.
stay here.
I'll move to adjourn.
A second.
All those in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Another one under the belt.
It is cold.